Alright, another review. This is the Sony a6300. I've had this camera for about 6 months. I didn't want to do a review when I first got it because I'm unfamiliar with the Sony system. So I thought I'd give it a real honest review and use it for about 6 months before I gave a review on it. I was also new to 4K video. That's the main reason I bought this, is the 4K video when it came out. So, well, let's jump into it, I guess. So this is a mirrorless camera, if you don't know, so there's no mirror in it like a traditional DSLR, making it smaller and more compact. And yeah, so anyway, if you've watched other reviews on this camera, a lot of people complain about these batteries. Look, they're super tiny and they run out of life very quick, so, or you know, they die really quick. So I recommend getting some more batteries. They have you could buy generic camera batteries for this camera, which is great. Some of the camera manufacturers like Nikon, you can't use generic batteries with their cameras, so you can buy the batteries and they're cheap. Also, this camera doesn't come with a traditional charger, battery charger. So what you do have to do is you have to plug the camera into the wall. So if you're getting those generic batteries, go ahead and get a charger that comes with it. A lot of them on eBay will sell a charger and a couple of batteries, and it will be under $20. So keep that in mind. Yeah, so the video coming out of this is outstanding. 4K video. I was really impressed. This camera does track autofocus or whatever when you're shooting video, so it's very good at that. I found it, yeah, exceptionally good. It didn't search for focus too often, so it did a very good job at that. I did have the camera, usually when I shoot my YouTube videos with this, I'll shoot at f5.6 or f8, somewhere in there. So this camera, it has you can buy it with a kit lens. I bought it with a kit lens. This is the 16 to 50 millimeter f3.5 to 5.6. This kit lens is small, as you can see there. It has this little zoom on the side, which I wasn't too sure about. It's just like a little thumb trigger. At first I thought I wouldn't like it, but actually I kind of enjoy it. It kind of gets you some really smooth zoom ins and stuff like that. The only bad thing is, if you're a photographer, you probably pick up your camera like this, you know, kind of cradle the lens underneath, so your thumb ends up hitting that sometimes, so you might accidentally zoom in or something when you're not meaning to. But overall, this kit lens, I'm very impressed with it. Very impressed with the video of this camera. All in all, I'd recommend it for a video. As far, let me jump into some other stuff that I don't like about it, or well, let me talk about it overheating first. So I've shot plenty YouTube videos with this camera, and a lot of the videos are like 15 minutes long or so, and I do a couple of takes of them. I've only had this camera overheat like once or twice, so it's if you're not out there doing all-day shoots or something like that, and you're just doing short little videos, this camera will be fine for that. So at $1,000, that's a real bargain. So consider that if you're kind of wary about other reviews would said it, you know, giving a really bad review because it overheats. If you're just not shooting all day or for hours, you'll be fine. Okay, as far as Sony and their menu layout on their cameras is not very good. Not very good. All right, get down. Not very good as compared to other manufacturers. They've got a lot of features, but they're buried down in the menu, and they're kind of hard to get used to. Once you get used to them, you're fine, but a lot of the other camera manufacturers, they're real easy. You could basically pick up like an Olympus or a Pentax or Canon, and they're very easy if you've used a camera before to find all those settings in there very easily, and they're usually set up in a great place. But this camera does have a couple of different customizable buttons, so you can get that stuff there quicker. Also, as far as ergonomics of this, I don't really care for these ergonomics of it, so I suggest that you go down to your local camera store or Best Buy, wherever you can find this a6300, and just feel how it feels in your hands compared to other cameras. I didn't really like it. Um, so that's something to consider. So those two things, as far as going through the menu like that and it not being very user friendly, and just the ergonomics to me were a real put off as far as using this for stills. You know, when I was using it for video, I just put it on a tripod and kind of just let it go. So I really didn't have a problem with that. But when you're out there in the field, maybe using it for photos or videos, you might not care for it as much. So anyway, I'm going to be selling this pretty soon because I bought this like 6 months ago, and I knew at the time all these other manufacturers are going to be coming out with 4K video, and this was the cheapest one I could find, and I just wanted 4K video. It's outstanding for $1,000. Olympus and Panasonic are coming out with new cameras, and I'll be selling this around the time they come out to help pay for that, and I'll be having reviews on those. Probably just go with the Olympus, just because I've used Olympus before and I really like them. This is a little Panasonic Micro Four Thirds camera, so you can see the size there if you're just looking for mirrorless cameras. This is a lot smaller. This has a bigger sensor in it, so there's something to, if you're just looking for something to go out there and shoot. Compared to a DSLR, you can see here this mirrorless camera is a lot smaller, but as far as the weight on this, it only weighs a half a pound less than this Pentax K70. So the lenses on these weigh about the same. So, but yeah, all in all, I recommend this camera. You've heard the good and the bad from me. I've owned it for 6 months, so I'm trying to give you the best review I can. I didn't grab it straight out of the box, not knowing the Sony system, and give just a review not knowing anything about it. So over 6 months I've enjoyed this camera. I just don't like it for photography. As far as the image quality of the actual photos coming out, this kit lens is really sharp. For a kit lens, I really enjoy it. I would recommend it. The images coming out of the camera are great. Just the overall user experience using it in my hands and the menus I didn't care for. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Go ahead and subscribe. I'll have another review coming out on that Olympus camera when I get it. I've got plenty of other Pentax reviews. I'll even be doing a review on this older little Panasonic camera that I got. That's really nice. I've got a Olympus brand new lens, the 30mm macro, the f3.5, that actually goes better than the 1:1 ratio on a typical macro lens. So I'll be checking that out later. Thanks for watching. Subscribe.